I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, May the 21st, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Livestock Analytics is a livestock technology company. Performance Beef is a software designed by cattle producers for cattle producers. You can use it in your feeding operation to create professional and accurate invoices, closeouts, and break-evens in seconds. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Beef demand holding, and throughout this rally in our cattle market for the past couple of years, actually, people keep saying, oh, we're going to get up to a point that people are going to back away from the beef. We haven't got there yet. People are still buying beef. You can't get into a steakhouse for sure on a Friday or Saturday night, but in most places you can't hardly get in one any night of the week. People are still buying beef in your grocery stores, and we're rolling right along here. Your retail beef is at an all-time record high, and we still haven't seen people backing off of it yet. Now our wholesale beef is at an all-time high, except for the COVID gouging and all that went on. But for the most part, we're at all-time record highs for our beef. Of course, we're at all-time record highs on all classes of cattle, so there's no reason that we shouldn't be at all-time record high prices for the final product. But people are still loving it, and we're starting to get approval from some of our legislators, especially in your red states. They have banned lab-grown meat sales in at least 5 states now, and we've got more coming, more considering it and thinking that they're going to fall in line too. So that's good. We need to get some truth in labeling passed at the federal level. Not only for country of origin, but also for this fake meat stuff. Well, we can get that where the truth in labeling covers all that. We don't want that fake meat, right next to the real beef in the counter. It needs to be somewhere totally different and have it clearly labeled on there that it is just some kind of a lab-grown mash and it is not a true protein. So we need to get that done. We're also seeing a lot of our states are starting to ban property sales to our enemies, namely China. Where's that been? We didn't see any of that kind of stuff during the Magoo administration, but we're starting to see some really common sense stuff come to light here. And speaking of Magoo, why are we talking about all these people are just now noticing that he wasn't right? I mean, it was obvious to most of us. I was calling him President Magoo from the time he stole the election over 4 years ago. Why didn't they just ask me? I could have told him. I mean, way before he started wandering off and shitting himself. I knew that he wasn't right. It was obvious to most of us that he wasn't right. And now we're coming back in and saying that it was a cover-up by his whole administration. Well, if he couldn't make any decisions, who was making them for him? It's not someone that any of us had picked to be making those decisions. So we need to get to the bottom of that. You can't just let that roll over, even though now he's got cancer, and bless his heart, if he really does have cancer, who knows? But my gosh, it's just, the cover-ups are just unbelievable in the politics, and I know you guys hate it when I talk about politics. Oh my God. My report, 5 days a week, we're going to talk about politics once in a while, people. But your fat cattle market has gained $18.75 in the last 5 weeks. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this is the week we're not going to gain any ground. I do think steady is going to play a big part in the trade this week in your direct fed cattle sales. Not saying that it couldn't be steady to maybe a buck or two higher. The northern plains, they've really got a lot of leverage in the trade. We've already started to see the Southern Plains weaken at steady to slightly weaker money, but is only one deal. But they don't have that many deals, so we can't rely on them to hang tough. But our slaughter is down. It's the lowest it's been in 10 years. Of course, the cattle are weighing a whole lot more. Our beef production's not down near that much, but we got a cattle on feed report coming out this Friday. Your inventories for May the 1st are set to be at 98.5%, 98.5% of the same report a year ago. Your placements for April, the average of the analyst guess is 97.1, and your marketings for April, the average of the analyst guess is 96.8. So we're just going to have to see what goes on. I do think we're going to have lighter numbers in the feedlot. Of course, 98.5 is a little bit lighter. I'm a little fearful of that placement number at 97.1. Market was awfully good in April. We sold a lot of cattle. Cattle were coming off wheat. Of course, it was wet around, and we weren't moving maybe as many as we did a year ago. So it's just up in the air. We're closed in Mexico right now, but during April they were moving several cattle across from Mexico. So I just think it's going to be in there pretty tight, but I would think 97 and 0.5 or somewhere between there and 98 would be a little bit closer, but we're just splitting hairs, guys. It's going to be lighter. But let's talk about your board on Tuesday. June live cattle futures are up 20 cents at 213.17. August was down 7 cents at 207.85. Your back months were up 22 to up 72 in your live cattle pits. So actually your live cattle futures have been fairly friendly this week. Very impressed with last week's higher market amid the key reversal and everything. So they've been hanging in there pretty decent. Our May feeder cattle up 32 cents at 296 smooth, and it's always kind of curious to me when we see these contract months end in even numbers, and we saw two of them do that on Tuesday. May feeder cattle ended the day is trading at 296 even, and August ended the day's trading up 2 cents at 297.50. Now your back months were mixed from down 12 cents to up 72 cents. July corn was up 7 cents at 454.5. July beans up 2 1/4 cents a bushel at 10.53. Hard red winter wheat for July up 13.5 cents a bushel. Good day for the grains at 536 1/4. Your fat cattle trade, I did mention that we did have a little bit of Southern Plains trade, about 300 head, just mixed steers and heifers, but it was at 219. Well, even though it's just a few loads, whenever we start trading cattle and it's not at the extreme top of last week, well, everybody perceives the market to be weaker. And so I guess you can say that now, because they were selling cattle late last week in Kansas at mostly all 220. We did have our market maker, Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. They had 1,350 head of fed cattle in overnight. They had 2,150 for the fed cattle auction there in Yankton. Brick and mortar sale right through the ring with competitive bidding, guys. Conventional fat cattle in Yankton sold from 222 to 230. That was steady to $3 lower. The two-way cattle, they were going back to feed, weighing in the 13s pretty deep, selling from 229.85 to 238.50. Program cattle selling from 222 to 230.275. Steady to $3 lower, but Gary Marks, my friend there, retired cattle buyer that shares this information with me, said that the weigh-ups were more full than usual, and most of the cattle in there looked like they were in the ring selling dressed over 370. We haven't seen anything like 370 on a direct basis in your 5-area feeding region for sure. So I'm not thinking that the market was maybe that much lower with the condition of the cattle, but the best sale they had there was 63 head of Wagyu cross, drug-free, mixed steers and heifers weighed 15, 16 and bring 229.80. That's a big slug of cattle for that, guys. Box beef cutout values were higher. And I mentioned we're holding our beef demand. It's amazing how now that your packers seem to have control of this runaway market, now suddenly they're asking more and getting it for their wholesale beef. It was up even more sharply than that at noon, but the afternoon report come out with choice cuts up $3.94 at $358.75. Selects up 85 cents at $344.96. Your slaughter, all of a sudden your packers are wanting to slaughter more cattle now too. So 235,000 so far this week, just through the first 2 days. That's 15,000 more than last week and only 1,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Charlet may be a way that you want to take your genetics, guys. You can increase red meat yield and carcass weight without sacrificing quality grade. Reduce your days on feed with efficient feed yard performance and feed conversion, and provide the ability to outperform for more dollars per head no matter what the market is. For more information, go to poundsmatter.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood, guys. Your latest real-time index on DVAuction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states after your Tuesday sales had concluded, sitting at $298.79. That was up 72 cents. Main reason for it being up was Kimball, South Dakota. They had one whale of a sale and actually averaged 8-weight steers higher than any sale we've ever seen. But it was right there where they got cheap corn and old money, guys. But they had a heck of a sale at Kimball, South Dakota. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index rested on, at least when it come out on Tuesday, at 297.33. Of course, it's a buck or two behind, or a day or two behind there. Some big sales to check out on Wednesday. Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon, Nevada is going to have 2,500 for a rare Wednesday feeder special. Usually have them on Fridays, but still selling a lot of cattle there, 2,500 head. Got the Tamara ranches in there sending in over 500 head, and they've got really nice cattle there, growing kind, guys. They're going to have 40 pairs on offer, 40 bred cows, a handful of Charlet bulls that make good replacements that are all tested and ready to go. Check them out at Nevada Livestock Marketing on DVAuction. And then they're going to have a big sale, feeder sale, at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. They've got a big sale coming up here on Wednesday, and they'll be selling big yearlings by 8:30 in the morning here today on Wednesday. Check them out at DVAuction.com also. Let's talk about your big sales on Tuesday. How about Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri? Big sale for them, 5,100 head through the ring, and another almost 1,000 head sold on their in-house video sale that they do with help from DVAuction. They've just mastered it, guys. They're doing a good job. Steve Anderson and his wife, got to give them kudos. They do such a good job going out, getting those videos in, getting them edited, getting them sent in to us where they can bring them right up. And it doesn't even slow the sale down, and they sell them right in the middle of the sale day, guys. But the feeder steers through the ring sold steady to $6 higher. Feeder heifers were steady to $3 lower. Your calves were fairly uneven from $6 higher to $6 lower, but good sale on a big run in West Plains. How about Kimball, South Dakota that I mentioned earlier? Wow, did they have a sale. Had over 3,600 feeder cattle, and then also had some weigh-ups in there too, but didn't have a big feeder sale last week, so there's no comparison, but they were the National Beefwire stick-out sale of the day, and mostly bigger cattle in there. But my goodness, check out these weighted averages on this automated marker report through Cattle Market Central. Look at 421 head of the 7-weight steers in Kimball, average 754 with a weighted average price of $322.65. there were 903, check this out, 903 8-weight steers in Kimball. Altogether, those 8-weight steers averaged $845 with a weighted average price on over 900 of them of $310.95. Wow. How about 567 head of 9-weight steers? They averaged $967 at $275.57. Talk about the heifers, 404 head of the 7-weight heifers averaged $763 at $298.14. 396 head of the 8-weights averaged $843 at $280.31. And 208 head of the 9-weight heifers averaged $955 at $261.91. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about Fallon Livestock, the other sale barn in Fallon, Nevada? Also DVAuction broadcaster there. They had a special on Tuesday. 110 steer calves weighed 415 and bring 462. That's a heck of a quote. How about Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma? 111 steers weighed 959. That's pushing up there towards a grand at 284. Good sale in Beaver. They had a good run there too. How about Interstate Regional Stockyards in Cuba, Missouri, right there on I-44? They sell 78 steers, weighed 642, bring 359. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, indeed come out of Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. It was the Ronnie Long steers. He had 213 head in there in one draft, weighed 817 and bring 323.10. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.